What's up, guys? Welcome back to another weekly Forex analysis video. This is going to be for September 29th up to October 4th. So we have three really good pairs this week. I'm very excited to talk about. Some pretty high confluence. The other two are counter trend trades. But I think they're still going to be very strong for this week based on the analysis, the oscillators, everything that I'm going to go through in this video. So it's looking very strong. Unfortunately, last week we did have somewhat of a rough week. I'm going to talk about that very quickly in the beginning of the video, but if not, you can just skip ahead to where we start talking about my actual analysis for this week's pairs. So let's get into the video, let's get into the charts, and let me show you what I got. All right, so just to go over those last two trades from last week that were losses, unfortunately, USD JPY really kicked our ass. We had good shift of structure on the first one, came back to our fib level, was in profit for a little bit, and then it spiked up into profit, or spiked up into loss, wicking us out before heading to the downside again. Then it came back, gave us another entry simply because here on the 4 hour, we can see there was another shift of structure right around here, and we also had a lot of supply zones right in this kind of kill zone that we have here that was lining up super well. So I took another position, and unfortunately that one never got to the sell side, which we wanted to see. So very unfortunate. And then we can see the massive push afterwards, right? So it's just a very unfortunate big upper wick. It was respecting this area, right? We can see that the area of interest that we drawn out, it was respecting it pretty well. We can see that it came up, bounced down from once, bounced down twice from it, but then it broke through, and then it came back based on some news event. So unfortunate. And now what scares me even more is that this could potentially be another trade for this upcoming week, right? We have a very strong daily engulfing bearish candlestick that takes out, maybe like a whole week's worth of candlesticks. And then we have a very strong upper wick to the upside too, taking out all that price action above it, perfectly respecting the daily EMA as well, just heading to the downside. So we could potentially see another retracement back up here into this area of interest before heading to the downside again. It's kind of scary because it's like, do I want to enter a position that really screwed me over last week on the same pair? I don't know. Like, I'm honestly not sure. So this one is going to be a maybe for this week. It's not 100%, but it's a maybe. I'm probably not going to trade it just because, this was pretty upsetting to me twice in a row. Within 2 days, 3 days, whatever it was unfortunate. But we have more higher confluences pairs to worry about this week. First up, GBP NZD looking very strong. Weekly is technically bullish, right? Weekly we are technically bullish, heading to the upside. Come back, retracement. We didn't really respect this area of interest that we had drawn up. We kind of broke through it. On the daily, we were respecting it a little bit. We could see these lower wicks here on the weekly. We bounced up from it a couple times, broke through it, and then we broke through it again. So now we're below our area of interest. We're looking for sells. We can see the daily is technically bearish, right? We came here, we're breaking market structure to the downside, which is very clean. Looking very clean. Now simply waiting for another retest of this area of interest. There goes my mic flying up in the air. Retest of the area of interest before heading to the downside even further. So daily is bearish, and then 4 hour is also bearish. And we can see here that it looks very clean on the 4 hour as well. Once we do hopefully retrace back into this area of interest, we're retesting previous market structure. Our 4 hour EMA will line up very well. We will have a good amount of supply zones that can help us push price down to the downside. And yeah, we have this area of interest looking very strong. Simply just waiting to see where the end of this push will be, right? Our fib maybe will end here, right? Or maybe it will end here. So we'll have to see over the first, few hours of the new week what price action decides to do. But yeah, I also decided to change my fib levels a little bit. If you noticed, I deleted the 0.382 zone, mainly because I've never placed a trade in the 0.382 zone. So whenever I am going to look for a fib sequence entry, it's always going to be on the 0.5 or the 0.618. 0.382 is just too early for me to place a trade in. I think it always has to retrace a little bit more for me to be way more confident in the trade. So that's why I just removed it. If I'm going to be looking for a trade, it has to be between 0.5, 0.618 zone. That's basically it for me. But yeah, GBP NZD looking very strong for a sell. GBP USD is our first counter trend trade that we might be placing this week. Even though everything is pretty bullish, honestly, everything is very, very bullish. Daily is bullish, weekly is bullish. 4 hour is technically kind of bullish, give or take. But we're looking for a counter trend trade here, right? So what we have is this lower time frame area of interest. So we can see that price was respecting it pretty well. We have a breakthrough, come back, retesting here also on the lower time frames. Went bullish, came back, retested it again, bounced off of it, and then we can see it retested it again, and retested it again, retested it again. So it's only a matter of time before we're going to break through this price point and head to the downside, right? So we're simply waiting for price to break through this lower area of interest, which would line up super clean. We can see that the 2 hour EMA, if we break through, come back and retest, our 2 hour EMA will line up very well. Our 1 hour EMA also will line up very well. Once we head to the downside, we'll come back, retrace into our area of interest. Our 1 hour EMA lines up perfectly well. We will have a ton of supply zones. I mean, the 4 hour, the 2 hour, 1 hour, 30 minute, and the 15 minute, I think are all kind of lining up like right in this area. So very strong entry. When we do have entries for this, right, we want to make sure that we're not entering in at the exact pip. Why is that? There's way too many sell orders that are going to be at this exact limit. So you could potentially get a perfect entry if you put your price point here, right? But what might happen is that they get filled in before your entry gets filled in, and price will perfectly bounce off of your entry when you're not even in the position yet, simply because you didn't have enough liquidity to grab and enough positions. There's not enough buyers for your sellers, right? There's not enough sellers for your buyers because you're always buying from the opposite side. So I always like to put, at least maybe half a pip earlier. And that gives me a good breathing room just for me to enter the position, even if price has to retrace. Even if price has to retrace just a little bit more, that's perfectly fine with me because I'm in the position. You know what I mean? So if I'm in the position, comes back, takes out all these supply zones, which would look very clean. It will tap our EMA on the 30 minute, the 1 hour, the 2 hour, using previous market structure, using our area of interest, lots of high confluences, right? And our fib sequence lining up perfectly with our 0.618 zone would look so super clean. Stop loss will be above our recent high right here on the lower time frame on the 1 hour and on the 30 minute. Will also be above our fib 1 right here, so looking very clean. And also, since it's a counter trend trade, we want to keep our stop loss pretty tight, right? So that's why we also want to have it like that. It's looking very positive since it is in confluence with our GBP NZD pair. GBP NZD, we're looking for shorts, right? GBP USD, we're looking for shorts. Now Euro GBP, we're looking for longs. So all these pairs, these 3 pairs that I have for this week, all confluencing together, looking very strong. Euro GBP is another counter trend trade that I'm going to be looking at. It's not 100%, super positive that I like to trade these counter trend trades. They're not in my favor too much, but when sometimes these weeks are pretty scarce, I'm open to looking at some counter trend trades if it's looking pretty strong. So we can see here price is respecting this lower low it made, kind of making a lot of lower time frame 4 hour market structure shifts into the bullish direction. So we can see here we also have a 2 hour reverse head and shoulders, which is pretty obvious to see. Very clean, simply because this 2 hour broke above it too. And now we're just waiting for the final push. We're waiting for price action to go up and then come back and retrace into the neckline of our EMA, right? So it'll be somewhere, right around here. So it's looking very clean. It'll also looks like it'll tap into our 2 hour EMA. Our 1 hour EMA will line up very strong with it as well. 30 minute EMA will line up perfectly with it as well, and I'm sure we're going to have plenty of demand zones that we can bounce off as well, right? We just want to make sure our stop loss is covering all of our demand zones. Like I explained in my supply and demand video, very simple. The 4 hour demand stick is very high up, so it's likely we're not going to be able to use that because that's way too early. But everything else is lining up pretty decently well, right? This one was already used actually, so the lower one would be right around here. We just want to make sure our stop loss is below all of the points where price might reject from to head to the upside. So that's what I'm going to be looking for Euro GBP. Again, it's in confluence with all the other pairs, with GBP NZD and GBP USD looking very strong. Not to mention on our main pair, GBP NZD, we can see here that the oscillator is showing a very strong sell. I don't really follow the oscillator too much, but it is a very nice confluence to see when this technical kind of tool is showing that everything, all these oscillators, all these other, random indicators are showing a strong sell to happen. So that's why it's very, very nice to see that it's in confluence with our trade. So very, very clean. It's not always 100%, but it does kind of make me feel a little bit better about the trade. So that's basically it for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you watching all the way to the end. Hopefully we can get some solid trades this week and kind of recover a little bit of those losses from last week. Also, I started a Telegram, so go ahead and check the description for the free Telegram link where I basically go through the pairs I'm going to be trading for this week and what are the confluences. So hit up my Instagram if you have any questions. Hit up the comment section if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer. Have a great week, guys. Good luck trading, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.